welcome to good friend Samm Severin.
Hello.
I'll introduce myself real quick. I am Shannon Strucci. I do video essays on film, filmmaking, pop culture, stuff like that. I also panel at conventions to talk about movies, and I make short films with my friend Devon, who you'll be seeing later in the broadcast. And co-hosting with me on this episode of StrucciMovies Live is my friend Samm Severin. You can introduce yourself.
Cool. Hey, I'm Samm Severin. I live in Atlanta, and I'm a stand-up comic. Pretty good, so.
I would think so. We had, if anyone really closely follows my YouTube channel and watches the short films that no one watches that I put on there, Sam's acts in one of them. You're Margaret in Conspiracy Delinquents, the last episode.
Conspiracy Delinquents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Garçon.
Because I wouldn't necessarily call you a film person, but I still love talking to you about this kind of stuff.
Right
and I think
on.
your perspective is really interesting. How do you approach movies, or what do you look for in a movie, or what do you like?
Well, I mean, and I tell this to everybody, I've seen probably 5 movies. So I think that's what affords me such an interesting perspective on them, because they're pretty new to me. Among those, I've seen the Beavis and Butthead movie upwards of 50 times.
Excellent.
And that's kind of had no bearing on how I interpret other films. But it has been what I was doing with my time instead of watching Pulp Fiction.
You don't really need to watch Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is fine.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. Usually if I do watch a movie, I ended up there and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Why are we watching this? But I was texting my dad and I was like, hey, I gotta watch these movies. Do you have these movies? And he was like, oh my God. First one, pretty good. Second one, crazy. He thought it was the best movie. He was getting his house sprayed for bugs.
And you just
Because why wouldn't you? We live in a forest. Why would you let bugs? Whatever. But he was getting sprayed for bugs, and the Orkin guy was kind of peeking into the movie, and my dad told the Orkin guy probably 5 or 6 times. He's like, there's gonna be a third one. It's supposed to be 3.
Your
You'll
dad
see
is
at the
so
end of the second."
excited for
He's
John
really
Wick 3.
excited. He loves action. He loves vendetta movies. Someone getting theirs after someone wronged them.
Which is the entire point, the entire impetus for, yeah.
Yeah. But we're pretty different. My dad was like, man, it was so cool. He really got them. I was like, he should have just got a dog.
You should have calmed down.
Yeah.
I think that's as it goes on too. Well, here, let's talk about the first one.
Okay.
And talk about what did you think of, especially as someone, you don't watch a lot of movies. I assume you haven't seen a whole lot of action films or the kind of stuff, because this is a very so the way that John Wick happened is someone approached Keanu Reeves with the script, and he was like, I know these 2 guys I worked with doing stunts on The Matrix, and I think they'd want to direct. It's I'm going to bring them on as doing this, but he's like, really, guys, do you want to direct this? And it's just these 2 people. I don't think they'd ever done a feature. So the first one was co-directed by these 2 guys who just love movies and were like, this is our chance to do it. And I feel like they knocked it out of the park to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your perspective?
I thought it was good. I have a hard time with action scenes in movies, unless it's with cars. For some reason, I can follow a car and get where it's going. But the first time I saw Star Wars, I missed so much of the plot, because when there's fighting, yeah, it registers to me not as a conversation, but as a blur. I don't see okay, the bad guy shot the good guy, and the good guy, I just see, I'm like, oh, it's all bloody. I wonder when they're gonna start talking again. It just so a lot of the first movie was, I'd be like, oh, they're really fighting. Oh, they're really fighting. I think the part that I wish the movie kind of focused on this more, because it really struck me, was John Wick has the dog, and he's learning to live with the dog, and he opens the door, and the dog runs outside, and he's like, oh, wait, don't run out there. And then the dog shits, and then they zoom in on the dog shit, and then they zoom in on Keanu Reeves, and he's like, oh, right. He remembers that dogs poop. And I thought
He forgot. He got so lost in the life of being the best assassin in the entire universe that he forgot how animals function.
Yeah, and it was I expect a montage of this is me struggling with training my dog. This is me. Oh, I'm learning about puppies. But I felt like they really made a point to be he just realized that dog shit. Oh.
There is, you have a certain economy of language in film. Every shot really counts, and it does linger on the little backyard thing.
Yeah, it was really intentional, and then it just kind of left me hanging. the rest of the movie, I was like, what's he gonna learn next?
He's gonna learn about, I don't know, 'cause I don't think John Wick learns a lot, because he keeps saying, well, the whole point of him as a character is like personified vengeance or whatever.
Yeah.
So he keeps being like, okay, no, I'm out, I'm gonna be out. And then spoilers, in the second movie, he like pops a guy he's not supposed to. It's like, well, now you're in it forever. You're not, that you can't. He's like, I got really mad. It's like, you didn't have to do that. No one made you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of how I hear other comics, myself included, talk about quitting comedy. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out. And they're like, well, you know what? I did just have this thought about how dogs and cats are like men and women, so I should probably get back at. I was like, well, okay. No one ever quits anything. They just get frustrated and take a nap and get married until their wife gets killed, and they come back.
And then the second movie takes place 4 days after the first. I found that out. It seems like it might be a little. He just like, we lost the chat. If we could, it went black. It's like his wife dies. A couple days later, he gets the dog. Then a couple days later, they come and kill the dog. Then a couple days later, they blow up his house.
Yeah.
And a couple days later, he's like the most wanted guy. Got like a $14 million bounty on him.
Yeah.
In the world of assassins, too. And that's something I like about the movies a lot too. Is it's just this weird. I watched it with someone else last night, and I was sort of explaining the logic. It's like, well, they're all criminals, and everything you pay with gold coins. And you can't kill people at this hotel. And when you do the blood thing, you can't. And it's like this weird constructed world with its own logic.
Yeah.
That's really fun to me.
That was my
like that a
dad's
lot.
favorite part. That it was like this self-sustaining organization that had its own rules and its own ways in and out. Yeah, that part's pretty cool.
It's like John Wick loves this dog so much, but there is a disposable quality. At least it's not like disposable women. That's something I like.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about in these movies.
Yeah, he doesn't replace the wife.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And it's nice too, the lady assassins, especially in the second one. I really like the character, the deaf woman, Ruby Rose. That
She's
assassin.
cool, dude.
She's really
got
cool.
A lot
She's
of
not
tattoos.
She's got like tattoos, and she's like flipping them off and doing all this. And it's not just like, here's a hot lady, but he won't hit a lady. It's like, no, it's like a real, because it's not a realistic film.
Yeah.
It has a believable like sustained universe or whatever, but it's not like, oh, this would happen in real life.
Yeah,
That's
like understood that the assassins have this amazing training so that they don't like exclude the women from the really cool fight.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, there's something really exciting about getting to watch a fight scene of a man and a woman fighting, because they're so rare that the circumstances would come up to make that okay. Like where it is they're two equally matched assassins.
Instead of like,
very
oh, I gotta
fair.
be gentle on the
Yeah.
lady who's trying to kill me. Like I have to be very dainty.
She has enough skill and enough strength and brawn to make this like a reasonable match of bodies. And then and then the only other time you see women in good fight scenes is when it's against other women, and there's this like kind of sexual aspect to that, which I love. But I think other people should see women fighting in non-sexual ways, and I can keep consuming porn like a monster how I want to. But we should have like good representation of women doing cool fights.
I like it. It's
with
so
grown-ups.
fun. It's
great.
and the thing is too, she's the big bad. She's the bodyguard of the Italian guy. She's like the number one. It's not some big buff dude. She's like a slender, but she like does it, and she's like it's similar when he fights Common, who plays the bodyguard at the beginning for the lady that he kills. They're very like evenly matched, and it's like a back and forth. And it's really cool, and it's the same thing. I really, especially like the first one, I didn't like mind it, but the lady assassin in that, it's like, you're no lady. Oh well, I'm hot, and then she gets her brains blown out.
Yeah.
But even that though, the fight scenes with her too, she was pretty evenly matched, and it's sort of when he puts the pillowcase on her head, and punches her in the face. It's like it's not like, oh yeah, give me like men punching women and movies. It's just like having as an evenly matched opponent, because there's so much stuff where it's like I did a video on this anime called One Piece, and I talked about the representation of women. It's kind of, I don't like it, whatever. People are like, oh, well, women are just weaker than men in real life. And I'm like, One Piece isn't real. There's like people who can turn into animals.
All cartoons are equally
It's not
strong.
real. Or it's like Game of Thrones being super rapey. It's like it's based on medieval stuff. They're a dragon. You don't have to do this. You don't have to. One, I like the fact everybody's dressed nice. The wardrobe design, it's so sharp, and it's like a lot of 80s action films. It's a lot of buff, greasy men, And there's this sort of thing where we talk about, sexual exploitation of women, representation of women, and then men are like, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger's super buff, and I can't aspire to that. It's like, that's a strength, that's a power fantasy.
Yeah.
A woman isn't like, oh, but I feel like in John Wick, everybody's like very, the Keanu Reeves' pants are really tight on his butt and stuff.
Yeah.
It's more of like a general change in action films and stuff too, but I just like really appreciate it. And a lot of the characters to me are like queer coded, like Ruby Rose, and also there's like that guy, the little guy shows him the maps in the second one, who's got the cute hair. He sort of dresses, he looks like me if I were like a 40-year-old man who wore like sweater vest. So I think that the production design and the costume design I liked a whole lot.
Yeah, I like the scene where he gets dressed in the second one, where he goes to the tailor and he's like, how many buttons? And he's like being as serious about the buttons as his guns. He's like, I need 2 buttons.
Tapered pants.
Tapered pants, yeah. And then they're like, we're gonna put this cutting board in your shirt and you don't get shot.
It'll hurt.
So
he's
cool. Yeah, he's pretty cute about it.
I love, there's so many little moments in these, and I really love, so there's a character actor named Peter Serafinowicz. He's the guy in the second one who's like, what gun do you like? And he keeps making all these faces and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like, so Simon Pegg and them, they did it a long time ago, they did a TV show called Space, then Shauna did it and stuff, and Peter Serafinowicz has been in a bunch of their stuff, and they've known each other forever. So every time he gets work in like a big movie, I'm like, I'm so excited for he's just like a really, really good character actor who I like. The second one had a better critical reception.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, but the first one is just like, it's so tight and it's so personal. I like it a little bit more. And I really liked something when I was rewatching it. It's like when Keanu Reeves, when John Wick is like holding the puppy, it's such like a sweet, intimate thing, and him with his wife, he's so gentle.
Yeah.
And then the scene later on, I think it's in the club where he stabs the guy and he makes eye contact the entire time he's going down.
Yeah.
If you remember that, that's just a really interesting juxtaposition between this sort of like vulnerable, gentle person with this little puppy and then it's like extremely brutal.
Yeah, that's a
violence.
good look into like everybody's both. Like you see somebody being really one way and you assume that they're always that way, but that everything comes with the shadow side. It's like as gentle as he is, also as murdering 3 guys with a pencil as he is.
And I love and the second one too gets a little more camp, but I like it. But the beginning where the Peter Stormare, who I also really like as a character actor, is like, pencil, and then later on, of course, it's got the pencil with like the dude's brains on it.
Oh yeah, that was
pretty
nasty.
Yeah.
He like puts the pencil against the wall and then slams a guy in the wall and then like pulls him off and the pencil's right. It's like, dude, gross.
And I love, and the second one too, talking about it being kind of campy, the scene, the woman playing the violin, it's like, oh, she's obviously an assassin, whatever, and then she just pulls a gun out of her violin and like starts shooting.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I love that too, his brutality with her too. Although that was sort of like the cavalcade of stereotypes, like the Asian dude eating takeout, that was kind of weird, who sort of has like I was like, that's kind of, and then she just like got a beret and like a French shirt, whatever. That's weird. What else did I have? Yeah, and I thought in the first one especially, it's like John Wick looks like a vampire. He's like pale, and he's got all this stuff. He's just like, oh, this sweet dude who's like sad about his wife and a puppy, and then he just starts murdering everyone.
I like his whole look. I'm sick of that. Like, I was never really into like the Arnold Schwarzenegger trope action star. Like, I've always been really into thin, hungry dudes. I like Steve Buscemi. I like Keanu Reeves. And if you go down the list of everyone I've ever loved, they need a sandwich. And they look weak, but are strong. Keanu Reeves looks so weak, and it's so hot. And I'm glad we have, like, cool, hot dudes that aren't, like, regular hot dudes. I don't like regular hot dudes. I'm a punk. But it's a better look, and he looks cool.
I like it, and I think, too, and again, it's not as much playing into the super buff, super hyper masculine power fantasy. It's still a power fantasy and stuff, but it's sort of turned down. And a few weeks ago on Twitter, I forget how it came up. I started this whole someone was talking about a crush on something. I was like, no, Steve Buscemi's really hot. And then it was just like hundreds of all these different people, and a bunch of guys were like, what? I think they were like, if people like him, and I think he's unattractive, attraction must be based on more than looks. This whole it was just like really weird. I was like, no, he's great.
I remember you drew me a picture of Steve Buscemi at my old house.
I brought up because when I was at your house, you and your roommate were like, yeah, and your boyfriend was like, what?
Yeah, he was so like offended. I said, what are you? If you think I'm hot and you think Steve Buscemi's hot, who am I?
What's happening? Yeah.
You gotta see Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction's fun. I like Pulp Fiction. There are very few movies where I'm like, you're not a real movie fan if you have. I haven't seen Citizen Kane. I went through film school, and I'm like, I've seen a lot of. I'll see it one. Whatever. I'm just gonna keep rewatching John Wick until I die. So, where's Travis? Do we have? Okay. Okay. I'm getting a report that we have our remote correspondent Devon Johnson is ready to give us his action movie review or one of them. So we're gonna cut to, I think, we're gonna cut to.
Hey Shannon, I am reporting from the ham radio factory. That's why I brought this ham with me. One of the action movies that I really really like is Rush Hour 2. It came out in 1993, starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, and it's one of my favorite that I've seen before.
Hey, can we get the chat back up as well? It's down again, sorry. I want to know when people are telling me, when people are referencing my short films that 1,000 people have seen. Oh, Devon's just said meat.
Meat.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I guess we can, is there anything else like thoughts or stuff you wanted to say about the John Wick films?
Not really. I mean, the dog scene, not the dog murder scene, the dog pooping scene really struck me.
It's pretty weird. It's a weird thing.
That's the only thing I remember being like, I gotta tell Shannon about that part.
We gotta talk about
hear what I thought about that.
It didn't even register with me as much the first time I saw it. And the second time I was like, oh my God, they really did a close up on the little dog poop.
I think that was the only thing that registered fully to me.
Out of all of it?
I liked the rest of it, but that part I was like, click. I can replay it in my brain at will, it's in there.
Just like take a picture of it and like make it your phone background, the little dog poop thing.
Yeah.
Right. I think my favorite shot in either of the movies is where the Aurelio, I think his name is, the chop shop guy, is like on the phone with the Russian guy. He's like, why did you hit my son? Why, you don't see his face? And he's like, he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog, and he's like, oh, and he just hangs up. It's like that's this kind of movie. This is gonna be so much fun, and I just got from there on out. I was just like happy and excited. Oh my God, people are referencing more banana pranks.
Banana pranks.
That was Mandel's bit, remember, in our Ladies Night intro video.
Oh yeah.
They're doing some StrucciMovies deep cuts of stuff that I think 99% of the people watching wouldn't understand. So Graham's got that line in it where he's like, I see 2 bananas and I get nervous.
Like, okay, I see 2 bananas. I get nervous.
Devon's nephew will reference that. He just like loved that. So Devon's nephew is our biggest fan. It's so cute. He'll be like, I saw in the background of that you had like the poster from the Baker's Cheddar from the other one. I caught, and I'm like, that's amazing. We have one person who's like paying attention to the continuity of our weird.
That's sweet. He
short
gets
films.
a T-shirt.
If we ever, yeah.
Just one of your T-shirts.
I'll just give him my my Let's All Smoking shirt.
Any old shirt will do.
So I'm gonna go through some of the stuff that people have said on my Curious Cat, and me and Sam will give people life advice and talk about movies or whatever. I wanted to point out one person said Chicken Run, and then immediately also asked action film Chicken Run.
So yeah, action film?
Action film Chicken Run.
Action trailer, for sure.
I thought this was interesting. Are you ever reluctant to take a deep look at film? As in, some films have that soulful quality that feels like it should remain unexplored and admired without rummaging through it all, dissecting it. My answer is no. I like thinking about stuff. I get more out of it if I'm like, oh, that's up about it.
Yeah,
what do you
for
think?
sure.
With art in general too, it doesn't just have to be film or anything that you enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't think I have a reluctance to exploring something more, because when I really like something, I'll explore Beavis and Butthead Do America until I've explored all of it. But most of the time I consume a show or a movie or a whatever, and I kind of just let it sit. Maybe it's just like a stoner thing, or I'm like, well, I get it. Okay.
Okay, next one.
Yeah, I don't really dive too far into something unless I need to, and I don't need to unless I'm like searching for answers in my own life, which is like, yeah. So no, I don't dive too deep into it unless I'm projecting.
There you go.
Then that's it.
I talked a lot to my cousin, who you know.
Yeah.
I was talking to her about how, like, I used to get so obsessed with something and so into it, and I was like, oh, then I got friends. That sounds mean, but it was like I had so much time. I did so much fan art, and I would like read fan fiction and do like watch the same movie literally 30 times, like Blues Brothers and Hot Fuzz and stuff. Speaking of action film, Hot Fuzz is amazing. I don't know if I'll have time to talk about that a lot, but it's just like now I have, I have people to fill my life with who are really kind and stuff.
Where are your hobbies now?
Yeah, my hobbies are friends. What defines an action film for you personally? How broad of a term is it to you? I think genres are inherently really broad, and you can't sit there and be like, well, this, like, dissecting it or whatever. It's just, I mean, it's like obscenity, pornography. It's like, you know, when you see it kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like, gotta find. Thank you, Peebs. That's my friend Peebs. And what a great show.
I don't know why I waved at the chat room. Is that how online works?
That you
wave
wave
at
at
the chat room?
Well, you can wave the.
No, I'm gonna wave at the chat room.
Okay, that no one else can. What sort of editing do you look for in an action movie? I don't like it when you got like 10 seconds and there's 50 cuts. This is not like an unpopular, but which is like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then you can't tell what's going on, and it's just sensory overload.
Yeah.
That's one thing I liked about the John Wick movies. There's a lot of, not like super long takes, but everything is very clear.
Yeah.
And very deliberate, right? Instead of just like shaky cam and like a whole bunch of punches, and you're just like, you get a headache and you're like, I don't know what's happening.
I will say one scene that I kind of didn't like, and I'm sure this isn't a popular opinion because it was a cool scene, I just didn't like it, was like one of the final fight scenes in John Wick 2 where they're in the museum. And they make a big point to like show the title card. They're like, this exhibit is called Journeys of the Soul. Or
and
whatever.
that's like the voice, like Journeys of the Soul.
Yeah. And they really showcase the whole museum experience, but they're in this mirror room. I was like, yeah, I get this is supposed to be like cool and confusing, but I'm just like, I don't know I don't know who's standing near who. Maybe that's the point, but I'm already confused, man. Don't like
I can
throw
see that.
mirrors at me too.
I like the mirror scene, but I like the bathhouse shootout more in the first one, or like the club shootout, because it's very like step by step, and there are little scenes in it. And one thing I like about the fight scenes in these films is like the scene in the bathhouse where he like looks and see the guy's shoe, and then he shoots him in the foot and shoots him in the face. Or I think in the second one where he runs out of bullets and throws his gun at somebody or stops to reload. There's like all these little very deliberate moments instead of just like bang 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 bang.
Yeah.
Bang. What are your favorite type of tattoos? Do you have because I don't have any tattoos, but
man, my favorite type of tattoo is like when you have a friend that's not like tatted up, and then it's summertime and they have on a short sleeve shirt, and you're like, you have like a weird warrior tattoo on your arm? What?
Like
that's
a secret?
Exciting. Yeah, especially when you're like, you don't have to, you fucking square, you know, like I don't know, one of my friends who I love dearly, who's a big old square. I caught a tattoo on the other day, and I was like, "Bro, what? You just been hiding this?
Where was it? Where was it?
Up here." I shouldn't say he's a square, but I just it was just so confusing. I was like, "What?"
It just completely changes
what's
your
going on?
perspective of someone, I guess.
No, I was just so surprised by the tattoo.
What was it of?
I don't know, some kind of
Something
tough
weird.
thing.
I think a lot of the tattoos, I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and then I read about it. It's like, that'll fade immediately, and it'll look terrible, and you should never get that kind. I'm like, okay.
Dude, our skin's doing that anyhow.
Because I already got. And it's like, oh, it's forever. It's like I got like weird scars from like falling off of stuff and from like, having a tumor. I already have weird stuff on
I'd
me.
rather have like a tribute to Anna Nicole Smith than like, you know, my cutting scars and bike falling scars, and now I have all three. So.
I have one from falling off of a 8-foot tall.
An Anna Nicole Smith tribute?
And then I have
Falling off a fence?
the scar just happened in the shape of her face. It's like really weird. I'm not even like big into Anna Nicole Smith. I like this one. How do I tell someone I like them? Not romantically. I just don't know how to tell my friends I appreciate them. I thought that was a sweet question.
I think that's a really nice question. I guess I really like thanking people. Like I'll tell people like thanks for the way you do that, well, I guess I've started. This maybe is a little off topic. I heard somewhere instead of saying sorry to people all the time, try to say like instead of being like I'm sorry I was so hard to deal with, be like thank you for being so patient with me. So I do.
That is better.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit of a nightmare pretty often. So my way
You're
of
great.
appreciating
You are wonderful, Sam.
is thanking them for what they do for me, or you know, just pointing out like the way you do this thing I think is really nice, or I always think it's really sweet to get to compliment somebody on how they treat people. Like when you're like, oh man, I saw you helping out that guy who was confused at the show, and I think you made him feel better.
That's because people don't,
confused.
hopefully aren't doing that expecting appreciation or expecting to be like, congratulated for it. But it's like, oh, you noticed that. Oh, thank you. Know, it makes you feel good.
That's such a sweet question. I feel like whoever is asking that question is, man, if you just have the intention of being like, I want to make my friends feel good, you probably are making them feel good.
And it's also too, like, I put a lot of value not only in thoughtful stuff like that, but actions, not just saying stuff, but also trying to like be there for people, or like I like giving gifts a lot because I'm kind of awkward sometimes about just like directly expressing like you're my friend and you mean a lot to me. I'm so like I got you some chocolate.
Yeah, you are very
friend.
sweet with gifts.
I'm just like here, I stayed at your house. Here's a whole lot of tea. Here you go. We're friends. Just kind of stuff like that. But it's just like because some people like say stuff and you can tell they don't really mean it, or So, or just like being there for people or being expressive, just different. Look, Google love languages.
Oh man,
and
what a trip that is. Yeah, so wild.
I think I'm getting another call here from our remote correspondent Devon.
What's his love language?
He's I don't know. Okay.
Boy. Oh, hey, Shannon. It's Devon Johnson here, reporting from hell. It's really hot in here. And it's, as you can see, I have the soot in here, and one of my favorite action movies is Thura, and it has space aliens and science fiction. Some people say, well, it has space aliens and robots and space. And some people say it's science fiction, but I say it's action. Better look out. You gotta look out for the devil.
Wow. Thank you, Devon. I hope you can get out of there. And I hope you're doing all right. I haven't seen Zathura, but I assume it's a really good.
I hope he's okay. Or at least learning a lesson.
Someone said, so have you looked into any Eastern action cinema, or is it still a blind spot for you? I mean, I try to watch stuff, but I haven't really watched that many movies lately anyway. But I will say my two favorite action films are Die Hard and The Killer. I've seen The Killer a few times. It's really good. It's a John Woo Hong Kong action movie from like the 90s, I think. And it's just so fun and so sincere and over the top. I just like turned up 100%. I would recommend it. It's just like a really accessible. And I saw it in a film class, and one of the like really like super cool like above this kind of stuff. I like art films. Grad student laughed at it and was making fun of it, and I was just like no.
I get that archetype.
I did not like her. I did not get along with people like that.
Because they're not good to get along with.
No, she was annoying because it's like. You like what you like, and there's some movies I don't like, and I've offended people just being like, oh, I don't like that, but I'm not like, I'm better than this movie that hundreds of people put their heart and soul, like whatever. Someone said favorite YouTubers. Do you watch people on YouTube?
No, my little brother came and stayed with me and Will during MomoCon, and he showed us.
Oh no.
Adam Ruins Everything.
Oh, he's got like a TV show now.
Yeah, I guess it's not like an underground thing, but to me, I was like, oh, this is Lucas's dumb YouTube talking guy. Let's fucking watch this shit. And then he put it on, and I was like, I'm better than this. I'm funnier than this. And then, like an episode, and I was like, dude, he's ruining everything, and he's so smart. He's like so funny.
I didn't know pugs are an affront to nature.
Yeah, that and
this.
I don't know. I think that's the only like YouTube I've, other than like like 20 people high at work. That's a good search. But yeah, I don't have a favorite. StrucciMovies.
Thank you. I like a bunch of them. Obviously, I like Every Frame Painting, Red Letter Media. And I've gotten into a lot of leftist YouTubers lately, like of course like H-Bomb, ContraPoints, stuff like that. I watch Binging with Babish. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He like makes foods from TV shows and stuff, and it's really cute.
Ooh.
He's like, oh, this is this burger from this, and I'm gonna do it just like that, and I'll do my own taste spin on it. He did like a monster thing from Zelda. I haven't played the new Zelda, but it's like a monster cake, and he used like a durian fruit, which they're supposed to like. I tasted durian for the first time recently, and I was like, I don't like it. I like You Suck at Cooking, which is a really cute show that's sort of, it's a cooking show, but he does a lot of weird effect stuff. Like, he'll just like throw a lemon or a lime against the wall and a whole bunch of peas will fall, like creative, interesting.
That reminds me of this one YouTuber I do actually like.
Wait, who is it?
It's the show, it's a Florida public access show. It's called The Marvin Show, and it's this guy in a kitchen, and he's so drunk, man.
Oh no.
And today on The Marvin Show, we're making sushi.
Next week on The Marvin Show.
And he makes sushi, but you know, when you're in the kitchen drunk, you're making a mess. And there's Hot Camera Girl, he's always referencing, and he'll be like, Hot Camera Girl, have a sip of this. And then they do like a shots segment where they do a shot. There's like a green screen behind him that's really wobbly.
Oh
and
no.
And he'll do a monologue, and he'll be like, what do you think about that? And then someone comes up. It's very action-packed.
Someone is a fan.
Yes, The Marvin Show. I'm glad he's getting out there. He's on Facebook, he's on Twitter.
All right, I know I'll see this later, but I'll write it down.
Yeah.
And no, I haven't played the new Zelda. I don't have a Switch. I don't have money for every new console. I would love to play it. It would be great. So there's this guy, it's this thing called Weber Cooks. It's this sad older dude, and I found, sort of people say stuff on the internet, and you don't know if it's true, but I looked it up and it was true. He's like a sex offender. Everyone found out later, but he was in a class, and it's just like him on this like awkward little table, cooking like rice-a-roni in the microwave, and he like leaves the knife in when he puts it in the microwave. And there's a part where he like drains pasta just onto the floor, and it's kind of, and I feel it's like. It's not like he's profiting off of it. I feel weird because he's like a sex offender, like a registered, I think, from looking it up. But it's also like, this is fascinating. And I was like, do you know Henry Phillips, the comic?
Yeah.
Have you seen Henry's Kitchen?
No.
It's this show, he has a YouTube channel, and he's been doing this for like 8 years, and I've been watching it like the whole time. It's like his cooking show he shoots in his room, but he's sort of playing this character that's like extremely inept and sad and depressive and lonely, and will say like really weird, sad stuff and just completely fails at everything.
Hello.
And he recently started a Patreon for his show, and there were 2 patrons. And so I like went on, and I'm giving him $1 a month or $1 a video, and I was like, Henry Phillips, I've liked your videos for a long time. I like that kind of content. And he was like, oh, thank you. He was really nice. And I was like, I'm the 3rd patron. And he just, because he's got a fairly he's a fairly well-known.
Yeah.
Like, no one's to support. Don't support me on Patreon. Support Henry's Kitchen. What other weird? I've spent so much time on YouTube. As a child and as an adult. Mm-hmm. I like a couple of like edgelord YouTuber channels too, but I'm not going to mention those. They're awful, but they're really funny. Someone asked, how's the RPGing going? I've been playing a D&D campaign.
Oh yeah?
With like Shelby and her boyfriend's DMing and stuff. It's been really fun. It's gotten really dark. I like killed someone last time.
Shannon.
I did. I'm an assassin. Everyone was like, oh my God, you killed her. It's like, I'm an assassin. You'll know. Like, I don't. Why is anyone? But I like talked to her. I was like, no, you'll be fine. And then I just like killed her.
You're an assassin.
It felt really.
Used to be an assassin.
So yeah, I could have. I'm not gonna. No, it's like, oh, I gotta stay in character. Someone asked about Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you like it? I saw like one episode.
I saw a few episodes. I didn't see all of it, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I think.
Have you watched a lot of anime?
No, which is weird. My
Ava?
brother watches a ton of it.
Well,
so
if he goes to MomoCon, I would hope he's a.
Oh yeah, he's a big old anime head. But yeah, I hadn't seen much. Sailor Moon and Pokemon. I don't know if those count.
They
but,
do.
Okay,
They do.
when I was little,
You're good.
those meant a lot to me.
I used to be the like mean word for like a really big, especially like a white person, really big into anime is weeaboo or weeb. It's like it's not a nice word. I was a huge weeb as a teen, just obsessive. That was the art style I drew in and stuff, and I watched so much stuff, and I've completely fallen off of it, all, apart from One Punch Man and One Piece. But someone asked, have I seen Evangelion? I've seen a little bit. I think the jokes about it are funny that are on Twitter. I know enough to get them.
Oh, I wouldn't know enough to get the jokes about it. I think that was Robin Williams' favorite show.
Yeah.
Someone told me that.
He named his daughter Zelda, right? After the Zelda games. He was Robin Williams.
Cute.
Weeb? Question mark. And someone said, "Thank you for getting me into Chapo. You're welcome. It's a good podcast." So someone, I don't want to read off the whole question, but they asked the question sort of like, from watching one of my videos, they started thinking about sort of, they're an adult and they feel like they're missing out on friendships or stuff like, how do you, like making friends as an adult, forming relationships. I would just say put yourself out there as much as you can. I'm actually a really, really shy person, but I make myself go to comedy stuff or film stuff or whatever and forcibly put myself around people, and if I'm around people enough, they tend to like me, and that's how I make friends.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah, when you're, I guess just be around people. Whenever I meet somebody new, it's always like, how am I going to be friends with this person? I don't feel comfortable around them, and then you just hang out with them and aren't comfortable, and then you get comfortable, and then you're like, oh, I already showed you the real me. Whoops. Guess we're friends.
Friends forever.
Yeah, we got comfortable.
Can I explain why Die Hard is a feminist film? John McClane gets into a lot of trouble because he's denying his wife her career, and he's a big jerk about it, and he apologizes midway through the film for being a chauvinistic jerk.
Aww.
It's not like the pinnacle of like, it's not like, oh, Jean Dielman, like all these feminist art films, and then we have Die Hard.
I haven't seen it. Does she end up getting to have her relationship and career?
Yes. I think, well, the building is blown up. Because the whole thing is like, she moves to LA from California for her job, and they're sort of going through a separation. He's like, well, I'd sing, you know. But there's a certain point midway through the movie where she's taken hostage, and he's like on the phone, and he's like bleeding, and he's like, I'm sorry, I was you know, da da da. It's like, yeah, that's cool.
Dude.
There's a lot of interesting male vulnerability stuff in Die Hard. And
I'm gonna watch that.
It's a fun, like I said, that and The Killer are my favorite action films. It's just a really interesting, there's a lot of really fun bit characters, and Alan Rickman plays a villain who he's like saying like, oh, our demands are this, we're terrorists, we have to release these prisoners. He just wants money, he's just like BSing. He's like really funny, it's like a really interesting, I like it. Thank you, Peebs. And I like earlier Peebs said honk if you're enjoying the stream or something. I thought that was funny.
That's sweet.
Well, I guess we're signing
off.
off.
Are we cutting?
Cut our. So yeah, somebody's alarm is going off.
If it's coming from my purse, anybody can grab in there.
Just
I
feel
thought I turned
around.
it on silent, but yeah, just feel around.
Well, actually, I think we could probably wrap up too. Does anyone in the chat have any questions? Before there's like a slight delay before we go.
Your phone is going off. Brought it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Here's your phone in case you need it.
Are we on the air?
Yeah, you guys still.
Oh,
we
good,
can probably
dude.
call it.
I like
I can
that
keep
there's
going,
a lot
or
of shots of you bringing me things.
I didn't know if you had. Oh, you don't have anything else after 5. I don't want to keep y'all.
I think we have something at 5. I think
Okay.
people should tune into our AITL show at 5 o'clock.
Are you on camera? Is this? Can people hear you?
Let me know in the chat. Press 3 threes if you can hear me's, because I'm coming at you live. Hit stop stream.
Brought me this water cup and my phone.
Bye, everybody. I think
Thanks
that's
for
it.
having me
I think
in your
that's it.
house.
Thanks for coming. That was fun.